And a good morning to you and welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Mizuno Golf Reach Beyond, by Club Car, the leader in sport utility and personal vehicles, by RSM, proud sponsor of the RSM Classic, giving back to our community, and by Bridgestone Golf. Get fitted for your Tour B ball today. On the show, we're going to talk with fifth-year senior Ben Carr, Georgia Southern golfer who finished second at last week's U.S. Amateur. We'll also talk with his coach, Carter Collins, about that. Then we'll talk with Bob Friend, who played on the tour and is the son of Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher Bob Friend. And then we'll talk with Mr. 59. It was the second one to do that ever on the PGA Tour, Chip Beck, who won his tour card here at Sea Palms. And we'll talk about the tour today and his feelings about that other tour. But first up is fifth-year senior Georgia Southern's Ben Carr and his coach, Carter Collins. Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. You guys, you had quite a big week last week, Ben.
Yes, sir. It was a fun week up in New Jersey. But it's going to be back home in Statesboro.
I'll bet you are, and I'll bet you're. I'm proud. I watched it. I was proud totally of the way that you fought back. Proud of the way that you handled yourself. What are your thoughts after a week of being back home about the fact that you became the runner-up at the U.S. Amateur?
Definitely pretty cool to kind of look back on it and just run through certain shots, watch some highlights, talk to friends and family that were there. Just kind of reminiscing on it, but it's definitely time to turn the page because we start our fall season next week up in Notre Dame.
Now, what I've always learned from sports psychologists is that golfers have to have a short memory. So when you say it was last week, you're over it, now you got to move on. That's part of that process, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly. I think the short-term memory is very accurate in golf. I think you could let yourself go down a path of being caught up in what happened on the last shot or the last week or the last season. I think it's really important to just kind of decompress after, and then once you're able to do that, just move on to the next shot or next event.
Well, I have that problem of short term. I mean, all as far as memory, I really do. I walk into a room and wonder why I even went in the room. Anyway, Ben, so you were 5 down. What were you and Will talking about or thinking about, or were you talking at all during the fact that you were 5 down going into maybe the last 12, 13 holes?
Yes, sir. We were definitely talking. It was a lot of just positive reinforcement from each other. A lot of Will reminding me that Tiger was 5 down in one of his USAM wins. So just hearing stuff like that, I mean, anything to kind of get you going, get your mind right for the last 12 holes helps out a lot. I just was really looking for a spark and was able to get 2 holes to kind of put me back in the match. And from there on, I fought till the end, and I don't really have any regrets, honestly.
All right, looking back over the final 3 or 4 holes, 5 holes, any shots or holes you would have liked to have taken over?
Would have liked to have back?
Yeah, you bet.
No. I think everyone is asking why I went for 13. I've got that question a lot, and
that's the par 5.
The par 5, yes, sir. Yeah. He had hit it out of bounds, which I wasn't sure it was out of bounds. Obviously, I watched him hit his provisional, so I knew there was a chance it was out of bounds, but I never got a signal that it was in or out.
Okay.
And I had a really good number with a hybrid to a hole. I'd been playing really well all week when I went for the green. And, I mean, I didn't want to lay up and have his ball be okay. And he hit it to 15 feet. He make birdie, I make par, and everybody's asking me why I laid up. I mean, it just could have gone either way, and I just hit a bad shot.
All right. I've read an article that you said you felt like you earned a seat at the table. What did you mean by that?
I don't recall saying that, but I do agree with that in a sense. I think I've been able to gain some confidence, feel like I belong with some of the best amateurs in the world. But I mean, I don't know. It was a really fun week, and it's it's gonna be fun to draw back on it for confidence purposes because there's so much stuff I can take from last week. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's making match play, like grinding to make match play, or uh, playing back-to-back matches that went 18 plus holes. I mean, being up, losing the lead, and hitting a shot on 17 in the quarterfinals to win that match, and being down to Sam and coming back and seeing number 36. So I feel like there's a lot that I'll be able to draw back on for sure.
Tell me about the significance of your ball marker. They showed it on TV quite a bit. I know it means a lot to you.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Jenkins with True Blue Ball Markers actually made that for me, and it's got GS logo on one side, and it's got a bunch of stuff for my dad on the back. I just wanted to have something tangible in my bag that I could just be reminded that he's with me when I'm playing. And Jeffrey did some ball markers for the team, and I figured that was a good way to always have something of his significance with me.
Yeah, you bet. Always. Coach, how proud of Ben are you?
Extremely, very
I'll
proud.
bet. I'll bet.
Yes, sir.
So I know his performance is great for Ben and his future. What does this do for Georgia Southern golf?
I think it continues to show the world that, the players at Georgia Southern are special and they can accomplish anything they want to do through Georgia Southern. And I mean, at the end of the day, Ben went up to New Jersey and accomplished what he did on his own. I'm sure there's going to be some residual positive effects that come out of this towards the program and the university and athletic department. But, we're just excited for Ben and what he accomplished. That's amazing.
You bet. And what are you advising Ben to do for the future? I know you got some more matches. He's got to finish out his fifth-year senior. So what happens and what are you advising him to do, Coach?
One of Ben's best qualities is he doesn't listen to me very often. So that's why he's gotten to where he is.
Not sure at all.
No, I mean, I just want him to stay patient. And I think I've texted him, take a deep breath quite a few times in the last week or two, which he's done a good job of. He doesn't need my advice, but he's, I know it's been a lot, kind of drinking out of a fire hydrant the last few days since Sunday. But he's done a great job of staying patient and keeping his thought process slow. And he's made some great decisions. He's given some great interviews since Sunday. And man, that whole week was just incredible. The interviews he gave on TV, how he handled his emotions throughout every single match, even though he had to be mentally exhausted after playing that championship golf course for 9 straight days. Incredible. Just couldn't be prouder.
Yeah, a lot of golf. Ben, what are your thoughts on your future?
I'm definitely really excited for this year. I think we have a really strong team and we play a great schedule. So, it's a lot more fun being on the road with my teammates than it is being on the road during the summer. And just having everybody on the same van and the same hotel and having the coaches there, it's a lot more fun. So I'm just honestly really excited. Not many plans, just can't wait to start playing.
So after school, are you thinking about turning pro?
I mean, I definitely would like to. I've always dreamed of playing professional golf, but you never really know what's going to happen. So, my focus is on our next tournament at Notre Dame, and kind of just go from there. And if it all works out the way I want it to, I would love to be playing professional golf next year. But it's just whatever happens, really.
Yep. And what about Will? Is he in the future with you if you go on to the next step?
I haven't thought that far, honestly.
Okay.
I've just been trying to talk to a lot of people about this past week, and then try and move on to our school season. And he did an awesome job at the USAM, and I'm very lucky that he was able to caddy for me, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. But I haven't thought too far.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. You've got some stuff to do there at Georgia Southern. We hope you're the best. I do want to ask you one more question. You reached into your pocket on one of the holes, I think it was on the first tee, and you kept searching for something. Were you searching for your ball marker?
Yeah, so on the first hole, Well, I had my ball marker in my pocket in the warm up before the rain delay. I came back out and didn't check my pockets because I just figured it was still there. Got to the first tee and was getting my tees, my ball, my ball marker, all that stuff together, make sure I had it, and it wasn't in my pocket, either pocket. My left pocket was completely empty, and eventually I just decided to use a different ball marker. I didn't think much about it after the first couple holes, but I was reading my putt on 15 green, and I looked down in my left pocket and see the outline of that ball marker, and it was pretty crazy. And then to have the rainbow on 16, and I was able to mark my ball with that ball marker to close out the match. It just sounds like a movie script.
It does, and it could be. Coach Ben, thank you so much for taking time. I know you've been doing a lot of interviews and a lot of talks, and I appreciate you taking time and making time for us this morning on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, guys. Good luck at wherever you're going, Notre Dame or wherever. I know you're coming down here to play too today, but you guys be good, and thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Coach Collins and Ben Carr, second runner-up at the U.S. Amateur up in New Jersey. Great playing, great program, and just a great university with a great coach and some great players. So we're going to be up next with former PGA pro Bob Friend, who is the son of Bob Friend Sr., who was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll be back right after this on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hi, this is Davis Love III, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. And Davis is going to be in Charlotte as the captain of the President's Cup next month. That'll be exciting. Also exciting is our next guest, Bob Friend, LSU grad, played on the PGA Tour, Nationwide Tour, Champions Tour. Good morning, Bob, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hey, thank you so much, Rich, for having me. How are you today?
I am thrilled. I've got to tell you that I used to watch your dad pitch for the Pirates, and when they won the World Series in '60, it was pretty exciting, I'll tell you.
Well, it was, it was a great team with great chemistry. They got blown out in every game that they lost to the Yankees, but they had great chemistry. They had a great pitching staff, and then obviously, the iconic home run there going over Yogi Berra's head sealed it all. So yeah, it was one of those things that lives in baseball lore, and certainly it's one of the seminal events in my father's life and also in the city of Pittsburgh.
You bet. Hey, when you played on the tour, Bob, you had a lot of top 10 finishes in the 90s. You had quite a year. Tell us about some of those.
Well, it was one of those things. I would go back and say that if anything, I was a journeyman. I ended up playing after graduation from LSU. I went back and I got my degree in business administration, graduated in December of '86, and then I was a finalist for the U.S. Walker Cup team. I had a wonderful summer. I had a very good amateur career. Qualified for the U.S. Open as a 20-year-old amateur in '84 and 4 straight U.S. amateurs. Won the Northeast Amateur, the Mid-Atlantic Amateur, the Monroe Invitational, Pennsylvania State Amateur. I had a very good career and was a finalist for the Walker Cup team in '87. When I found out that I did not make it, I turned professional and I played, 17 years all told, all around the world. Most notably, 9 years on what's now called the Korn Ferry Tour and 5 years on the PGA Tour. I think I ended up with, I think I might have ended up with something like 27 top 10 finishes on the Korn Ferry Tour. And I think I had 4 or 5 top 10s on the PGA Tour. My best year on the PGA Tour was, 1998. I think I had 3 or 4 top 10s. And most notably, I lost a sudden death playoff to Billy Andrade, the Bell Canadian Open in 1998. Had the lead after I shot 69, 67, had the lead after Friday at 68 on Saturday. And Maine had a 2-shot lead over Billy. We played on Saturday and Sunday. Then, Sunday came down to the 72nd hole where I was 1 shot back, a reachable par 5 at Glen Abbey, 18th hole. And I hit and I knocked it in the back bunker. And 2, big gallery around there. It's the National Open. And Billy then knocked his second shot into the water, trying to go for the green. And he had to drop back on the far side of the hazard. Hit a 9-iron in there about 35 feet. I hit my bunker shot out. Great bunker shot going across the green, probably about an 80, 90-foot bunker shot. Water right behind the pin. I hit it in there about 4 feet. And as I came, as you sit there and you try to control your emotions, you try to control your thoughts when you're playing tournament golf, when you're playing golf, period. But especially playing at the highest level, you've got to be able to control your thoughts in between shots. And as soon as I came out, as soon as I hit that bunker shot, and Billy had about 35 feet per par, I looked at my caddy and just said, "Looks like we're going to go to the Masters." And then Billy makes the damn thing.
So that puts more pressure on you.
I have to make about a 4-footer to get into a playoff with him, which I, at that time, over 4-footer to have your first opportunity to get into a playoff to win a tournament. I couldn't see. My ears were ringing. I couldn't spit. My heart was pounding. My knees were shaking, and I buried it. And then it just so happened he beat me in the first hole of sudden death, and it saved me about 50 cents a year since then because it got Billy off my Christmas card list. So, just one of those things. But I had a wonderful time. When you go back and you take a look at, when I was 14, I decided they played the PGA Championship at Oakmont. A longtime member at Oakmont Country Club, still a member there for 50 years.
Wow.
And, when I was 14 years old, I caddied the PGA Championship for a club professional from Kansas. And he couldn't really play. He wasn't a very good player. He shot 88, 83, missed the cut. But we played our Monday through Wednesday practice rounds with Tom Watson because he and Tom were friends. And I was inside the ropes with the number one player in the world at the time. And I remember on Monday morning after the tournament was over, John Mahaffey had won in a playoff. My father asked me, so what did you think? I just said, that is the coolest thing that I've ever seen, and that's what I do when I grow up.
Wow.
And then when you think about, a young boy having dreams of, being a doctor, being an attorney, playing baseball, playing in the major leagues, playing on the PGA Tour, I had the opportunity with wonderful parents and wonderful support system to live my dream.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, you have a dream, you have a goal, and I'm a very focused individual, and I did everything possible to get where I did, and to be out there and playing with the best players in the world, competing at the highest level it's a thrill of a lifetime.
Yeah. And you won on that highest level. What was it like to win for you at that time?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it was, I also won that in the playoff. It was 1991. It was in Fort Wayne. At that time, the Ben Hogan Tour, I shot 71 in the first round, was tied for about 50th. And then I shot, at this time, they were 54-hole tournaments, but it was, I shot 71 the first round, shot 66 the second round, and then the final round on Sunday, I shot 64, and I got into a three-way playoff with myself, Dennis Trixler, and a guy from Canada by the name of Jerry Anderson. And I hit it about a foot and a half away on the fourth playoff hole to win the golf tournament. And,
Wow.
It's just at that time, there was a $20,000 first place. I was, a young guy. I was, I was like 20, 25 and 28, I think. No, 27. I was 27. And, that was like, oh my gosh, I just won this tournament.
Yeah.
And then again, what that does is that, as Jack Nicklaus always said, success breeds success and winning breeds winning. And so,
Sure.
winning out there literally, at that time, I can't remember what I finished on the money list. This was when they only took 5 players, the top 5. And I think I probably finished like 15th or 14th on the money list, something along those lines. But I ended up going in the fall, going to Q school, and it was a Greenleaf. And literally, I've been to Q school a number of times. Like I said, I was a journeyman.
Right.
But that particular year in 1991, I mean, literally, it was the easiest Q school I've ever experienced because of 108 holes in the finals, I think I hit like 95 greens. I was just a,
Wow.
I've always been an accurate driver of the golf ball.
You were a machine.
I was one of the most accurate drivers of the golf ball on the PGA Tour. Never long, but I always hit a lot of fairways. When I missed them, I didn't miss them by much.
Yeah.
And I just hit fairways and greens. And so I really breezed through Q school, but it was the win in June of 1991 in Fort Wayne that gives you the confidence that, I can do this. I can play with these guys.
Right.
And, and then the years later, it was, like I said, I played on tour in 92 and 93. And then, most dramatically, I lost my card, played on the Nike Tour at that time. And then, in December of, 97, to this day, I still hold the record for the lowest round ever recorded, at PGA Tour qualifying on round 6 to get your card back on the number. I shot 63 the final round in 1997 at, again, Greenleaf again, to get my card back on the number. And, it was just a lot of dramatics, highs and lows throughout a career. And, but at the end of the day, when I go back and take a look at, I made a living for my family, was able to sock away some money for college and my kids.
Yep.
But I mean, I've played with everybody. I mean, I played with Tiger Woods in his first PGA Tour event when he was 16 years old at the LA Open. And then, I played with Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Ballesteros, Tom Watson, Ernie Els, Davis Love. Used to play with Davis Love a lot. Was paired with Davis quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it was, again, like I said, you sit there as a young boy and this is your dream and have the opportunity to live it. It was quite a thrill.
So, Bob, 17 years, journeyman on the tour. What would you recommend to a young player coming out of high school, college, who really wants to play on the PGA Tour? What would you recommend for them?
That's a great question, Rich. And I'll tell you, here's the thing, and this is what I followed. Years ago, there was, again, I grew up at Oakmont. I was very, very blessed.
Right.
Great parents. I wouldn't say we were, overly wealthy, but we were comfortable.
Right.
I remember beating balls. I started playing golf when I was 13. Made my decision the next year when I was 14. That's what I was going to do. And there was a gentleman by the name of Fred Brand, who was actually on the USGA executive committee for years. He was a member at Augusta, member at Oakmont, insurance business. Very, very smart, very high golf IQ gentleman. And I remember him watching me hit balls, and I was like, Oakmont has this men's game called the SWAT, famous men's game that plays Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And so Mr. Brand was watching me hit balls before he went and he played in the SWAT. And then when he came down 18, because the range at Oakmont abuts 18th fairway, I was still hitting balls. And so he came down to the range to, maybe hit some balls himself, but mostly to talk to me. Just said, "Have you been here the whole time?" I said, "I have." He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to play on the PGA Tour." He said, "It's a great goal." He said, "Before you even consider turning professional," he said, "do these things. The things are this: beat everyone at your club, beat everyone in your city or town, beat everyone in your part of the state, beat everyone in your state, and then win national tournaments on a national level." I did all those things. And then only then do you consider turning professional. So for the young people that are thinking about, man, I love this game, this, that, and the other, number one, you had better be able to do all of those things before you can even consider doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to get your rear end handed to you. You're going to be competing against the best of the best of the best. So beat everyone at your club, city, your portion of the state, and then start winning some tournaments on a national level. If you can't do those things, then you're not good enough. Number two, I would strongly recommend, and the game has changed dramatically since when I was a first-term professional with the advent of the Pro V1 series of golf balls, the explosive golf balls.
Right.
Work on your wedge game. So the game is played from 100 yards and in. And if you don't believe me, 1945, Byron Nelson won 11 tournaments in a row, 18 tournaments all told on the year. The stroke average for the year was 68.33. Here we are, 77 years later. People are driving the golf ball probably 100 yards beyond where Byron Nelson could drive it. Where's the scoring average?
Right.
Scoring average is still 68.33 to 69.33. That's where the scoring average is. The game is played from 100 yards and in. So what you need to do, even if you have tremendous length, or if you hit it short, you have to be a great wedge player. You've got to be a Marine Corps sniper with your wedges. Your distance control has to be precise.
Right.
You're a shorter player, you can still make a lot of birdies on par fives. If you miss fairways, hit the ball within 100 yards, you've got a better than 50% chance of getting the ball up and down. If you're a banger, if you bomb the golf ball, you're going to have a lot of wedges. Have to make birdies, 8 irons through your wedges, and most importantly, you've got to be absolutely dead on with your wedges. When I was on tour, I used to have every Tuesday, my caddy would walk out on tour with 3 towels. I carried 3 wedges. I carried a 48, a pitching wedge, a 56-degree sand wedge, and a 60-degree lob wedge. And he'd place towels at 65, 80, and 105 on the range in those towels, which are 3/4 shots with each of those wedges for me. And I would practice for 2 to 2.5 hours every single Tuesday without fail,
Wow.
flying balls with each of those wedges and trying to hit those towels on the fly. Know your distance control, know your distances, but be very, very deadly with your wedges. If you have any inkling at all of playing at the highest level, you've got to be dangerous with your wedges.
Awesome advice. That's one of the weaknesses in my game, which after this, I will go out and practice. I do have one final question. Can you beat Judge Gene Scanlon?
Yes, of course I can. Yeah, Gene's great. Gene's a great guy. No,
he is. He is.
Yeah, I mean, Gene's a wonderful guy.
He really is.
I
And he thanks you for that club, too.
I can take Gene to the woodshed still, yes.
I love it. Bob, thanks for being with us. I loved it. Thanks for the great advice. And for you out there that are thinking about being on the tour, take that to heart because Bob knows what he's talking about. Bob, thank you for being with us and spending time with us.
All the very best, Rich. Good luck to you. All the best.
Take care. Bob Friend, former PGA Tour player and winner, and with some great advice about how to get up on the PGA Tour. Up next, we have another PGA Tour player who won his card here at Sea Palms, Chip Beck. They call him Mr. 59. We'll be back with him in a couple of minutes. But are you looking for new clubs? We'll try the new Mizuno's 925s, 923s. They will improve your game. The new Mizuno irons will help you reach beyond. And then take a look at their driver, their fairway metals, the hybrids, and you're on your way to game improvement. Putters, they got mallets, they got the blades, they've got everything. Check out everything at MizunoGolf.com. Mizuno Golf. Reach beyond.
Hey, this is Dr. Mo at the Sea Island Golf Performance Center, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Chip Beck won 4 times on the PGA Tour and had 20 runner-up finishes. Let's welcome Chip Beck to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Good morning, Chip.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Great to see you out playing with some friends at Sea Island a couple of weeks ago. I loved it.
Well, I love the golf courses there. The pros were so nice to me. Johan Emanuel and John Olson, they were so nice to let me play golf there. I took my family. We had a great time. Great golf courses. It was fun to play.
Well, and this area also means a lot to you because you earned your tour card at Sea Palms. Tell us about that.
It's really interesting. When I came out of college, I actually represented Sea Palms. And I qualified. My dad kept that qualification. I finished I think I won it. And he kept the press clip in his wallet till he died, I think. It was so nice. It meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to me, too.
Well, being a former Bulldog, you had more top 10 finishes than any other player in school history. Does that record still stand today?
I don't know about that. They've had so many good players come through there.
They've had quite a few.
Oh yeah, they've had so many great ones, and a lot of them live in your area too. So
Yep.
they'd be more qualified to probably answer that. But it was a great time for me. I enjoyed it, and it was probably one of the best times of my life playing there.
Well, I'm sure you've been asked this many times about your 59. Take us through that round at Las Vegas Invitational when you shot that unbelievable magic number.
Well, we knew that it could happen the night before. I was on the putting green the night before we played in Las Vegas, and we had 5 new golf courses that year. So I didn't get to play the golf course. I never saw it, but I remember John Cook and I and our caddies were talking about it, and they were saying, "Yeah, you can reach par 5s and 2. You know, there's some wedges into par 4s. This golf course, it can happen on." And it was a big thing that year because Hilton Corporation was given $1 million, the first guy to shoot 59 that year.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a lot of money for us. You know, I actually won $1 million shooting 59, and Andrew McGee won $650,000 for winning our biggest purse that week, the Las Vegas Invitational. So that was in '91. So that was a pretty big thing.
But at that point, you had the PGA record for one round of 13 birdies. Did you just think, I don't care how far I am or where I am, I think they're all going to go in?
Well, you just keep kind of moving down the line. What was funny about that one, we wore metal spikes at the time, and so the greens and the front 9, I started at 7 o'clock. So getting to the back 9, the greens were getting a little bit bumpier. The spike marks, when you kick them up, they have a little dirt attached to them, and they get really hard. So they started deflecting the ball. And I said, man, I don't know how many more putts I can make. I better hold this one on the last hole. So I took a little chance. It was really a 7-iron number, but I hit an 8-iron because the flag was really tight over the flag. I figured I'd risk it. And I remember seeing it out of the corner of my eye, I thought, ooh, that's perfect. Got the right amount of spin. It just came out just right. I said, oh, go in, ball. And it ended up being on the upside of the hole about a couple feet. I was really hoping it was going to be a kick in, but I had actually 2 spike marks in my line, and I wanted to be steady, and I wanted to roll it, hit the first one, which would hit the second one, and it'd catch the right side of the cup. And that's exactly what happened. It's funny, I didn't even remember that until I was playing poorly, and I think, how in the world did I shoot such a good round?
Yeah.
And as it turned out, I remembered that I even on the 17th hole, the wind kicked up, was a left to right fader of the ball. Wind kicked up right to left really strong. And I backed off the shot, and I said, oh, my caddy, Dave, I said, Dave Woosley, I said, Dave, I need to run 2-hop it in the fringe, keep it on the right side of that hole. And, well, I'm sure glad I did that because it was on the underside of the hole. And I had a putt from about 10 feet that broke probably 6-8 inches. Otherwise, if I'd have been off the left side, I could have never made the putt.
Yeah.
It broke too much.
Yeah.
Anyways, I realized at that point in time that you play golf in your imagination when you're playing your best. You play it with, clear thoughts. And you literally play with, you don't play mechanically. You play imagining how you're going to play your shots.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about golf. Sometimes you can get away from that, but the sooner you get back to it, the better you're going to play.
Yeah, and you played pretty good in the '93 Masters. You ended up being the runner-up, but tell us a little bit about the last few holes. Did you think you were going to have a chance to win the Masters, and what happened in those final holes?
What's really funny, anybody that plays a low cut probably doesn't have. I thought you really didn't have a chance to win Augusta, whether it's Lee Trevino or Hale Irwin. They hit the ball with a fade, generally hit the ball low. And when you play that way, you really don't have much of a chance to win at Augusta. I remember working with Hank Haney. I said, Hank, look, I played golf at Georgia. I wanted to win that tournament from the time I was a kid.
Sure.
In Georgia, we had a chance to play it every year, and I never played it because I figured I was going to get there when I turned pro. And plus, I wanted to go home because I was from North Carolina. And but the crazy thing about it, you know, he said, Chip, every great player that plays there plays an open face draw. The club face back and open, and you open and close that face and roll that ball, 25, 30 yards. I was playing a 30-yard hook.
Wow.
When I had a chance to win there, but I played there like 13 times. I never had a chance to play and win that tournament until I hit a big hook. Because if the course was wet, I couldn't get down the hills. I couldn't hit the ball on the green. It's a hard golf course for a guy my size going in there hitting a fade. You just can't do it. So anyways, I was really proud of myself for having the opportunity and going around Amen Corner. Truly, it could have gone my way or it went to Bernhard Langer's way, but it was nip and tuck, really. And I knew when I finished that day that I knew how to win Augusta. And as it turned out, they slaved me for laying up at 15. And one of the funny stories, I was telling this member recently about the layup at 15. I said, they had these things on the right side of that fairway. Only time I'd ever seen them. And they were humps in the fairway. They put these little humps. And he said, oh, the gumdrops. That's Tim Nair, and he's been a long-time member. He's friends with Jack Nicklaus, and he knows architecture and design of golf courses. And he said, oh, the gumdrops. I said, is that what you call them? He said, yeah, we put them in for 1 year. I said, that destroyed me because I said I couldn't skirt the wind. I had to get straight up in the wind, and I was 10 yards behind my go point. And I said, I tried to get the ball, if the flag were back, if the flag were up close, a lot of times I'll put it just 3 or 4 feet on the front of that green. Well, then I would have had to have skirt the wind, skirt that gumdrop, and try to catch the bunker, which was 240 to the right side. It was 10 yards short, of the green. So I thought about that, but the flag was open. And when the flag's open, or 30 yards back from the front, or 10 paces from the front of the green, it's an open flag, and you can make it from the fairway. And it's a narrow green in the first place. But anyways, I played my shot that I thought was going to give me the best opportunity. I was already 3 down, and so it's funny because Ray Floyd told me, he said, Chip, I was the same position going into 15. The year before, and same number of shots down, and I beat Nick Faldo beat me in a playoff. I got into the playoff. He said, you did the right thing. I said, if you can't get there, you can't risk your whole tournament on one round.
Right.
Especially when I knew where everything was, and you can't really make mistakes like that at that time of the game. So, anyways, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's the guy that slayed me was Venturi, and I looked at Venturi's record, rest his soul. He shot 80 when he had a chance to win. He was criticizing me. I thought, that guy, he should know better than that.
Yeah, and you were the runner-up, and he wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Well, Chip, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Chip Beck, former PGA Tour player, Mr. 59, right after this on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Zach Johnson from the PGA Tour, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Speaking of Ryder Cup with Zach, you were on 3 Ryder Cup teams, Chip. What was it like for you to play for your country?
Well, it was a highlight of my career. I enjoyed it immensely. My wife and I tend to be more social, so we enjoyed all the parties and the black ties and the it was truly a lot of work because there were so many parties.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
going on every night, but
Yeah.
we loved it, and I loved the competition because you'd find out things about guys that you can't even imagine. Like who didn't like to play with who, and who was intimidated by who, and who. You just find out so many interesting things about some of the greatest players in the world. So I really loved that part of it. We're human like everybody else, and everybody has their own quirks and idiosyncrasies, and so it's a great event. And at the time I played, I didn't think we'd ever lose because you had so much. You had Nick Faldo didn't like Sandy Lyle, the Scotsman. You had it didn't seem like their team was so divided, and they always were fighting each other. It seemed. I thought, man, they can't beat us. then that 9/11 happened. I think everybody in the world gelled and wanted to beat the Americans after that. So
Yeah.
it kind of gelled their team. And I always felt emotionally that was a big switch.
Yeah.
Went off,
Well, there's a
So
lot
it's kind of funny how it works like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's a lot of big switches going on. And all what's going on with this battle between the PGA and the LIV Tour. What are your thoughts on this, Chip, after playing so long on the PGA Tour, playing the Ryder Cups and so on? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that if I were the commissioner, I would have said, hey, look, guys, bring it on. You guys can bring all your money. You can bring everything you've got. But the reality is we have the best players in the world. We have played the best courses. We have the best sponsors, and people from all over the world want to play our events. And if you're an American, I think you have to go ahead and accept the fact that there's going to be competition, because there needs to be competition. Competition always makes everybody better.
Right.
So as we're finding now, the competition is going to make the tour better. I mean, the regs that they've changed now are, I never dreamed you'd see a tour like what we have going now. But they're definitely into the modern era of sports. That's for sure. And the money is tremendous. The amount of money they've guaranteed the players now is remarkable.
Yeah, it's changed
But,
a little bit from when you played.
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't change from the time I played, but I know one thing. It would have helped me a whole lot if I had $5,000 a month coming in when I was missing all those cuts.
Yeah.
Almost set the record for the most cuts in a row. If I was getting $5,000 a week, well, I went about a year and a half spending $5,000 a week, and had 6 kids put through college. And I tell you, that's a lot of pressure on a guy.
Yeah, it sure does.
It's a different ball game.
Yeah, it
But,
is.
it's a better game now, I think, because you have so many young people coming out where they don't lose their skills. You don't have a Curtis Strange coming out taking 4 years to get out there because he can't qualify, and myself, it took me really a while to get comfortable out there because you have so many people that were qualifying. We'd go to Phoenix. There'd be 4 different golf courses, 1 player at each courses, at 150 players at each course.
See,
Wow.
wow.
I didn't qualify my first year until July of my first year. I finished second in the tour school. So I failed keeping my card by like $92. I didn't even make $7,000. And I went back to tour school, finished second again. And then I started qualifying better because I knew the courses.
Right.
But
right.
when you're playing 150 guys for one spot, you got to play great.
Yeah, you do.
There were a lot of guys that were, I remember Tiger Woods coming out as a 16-year-old, and I remember standing on the Riviera on the green looking down at J.C. Snead or something. See, I want to see how good this kid's going to be. Let's bring him on, because they weren't afraid of anybody.
Yeah.
The fact were they had the deck, packed and stacked in their favor. But now the young kids can come out with their confidence. And the sad part for the kids today is that the players that could actually teach them how to play better,
Right.
how to do things in a better way, they're gone. They're playing they're gone now. I was playing with Trevino when he was in his 40s, and Nicholas when he was in his 40s, and after that, the Champions Tour and all that came on. The guys are gone. So I think that's unfortunate for them, because I learned a lot in my 20s from the guys that were playing in their 40s and 50s. So, because they'll tell you the truth. They say, son, you can't do it like that. That's going to cost you a lot of money playing like that. I remember Trevino hitting me. He said, son, you're the dumbest kid I ever saw. You hit from the middle of the tee, trying to hit the middle of the fairway. He said, old Buck will beat you every time. He said, I come all the way on the right, I aim all the way down on the left, about 2 yards into that left cut, and then I have 30 yards to hit that ball into. That's how I win my majors. You got to smarten up. But I mean, the kids today, I see them making so many mistakes and they have so many swing flaws. To me, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But they're playing with such confidence.
Yeah.
You can have a Jordan Spieth come out there, who's probably the best putter to ever come along since Bobby Jones, and he's having trouble hitting fairways and greens.
Yeah.
If he plays anywhere near, if he strikes the ball anywhere near what Tiger Woods did, he should have broken all his records. I've never seen a guy putt as good as Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so great.
I agree.
But he's struggling with. He's made $50-60 million, in his net worth, but I don't think he's that satisfied, because he's doing things in a very difficult way.
Yeah, and he wants to win more. Yeah.
DeChambeau's, in my opinion, is
Same
doing
way.
a lot of wrong things.
Yeah.
He's got he's got a labrum torn in his left hip. He's got a hamate bone in his left hand broken. He had, he says
Hey,
it was
Chip.
playing ping pong, but the facts are it's hard to play doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Chip, I can't thank you enough for being with us. Sorry, I wish it was longer. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
All right, Chip,
For that
take
great
care.
area down there.
All righty, thank you.